And the body is so intelligently designed that if it's out of gas, why would it try to create and sustain life? It won't. And so that's the number one thing that is causing those fertility struggles, which is why you as a chiropractor should be owning this space.
All right, chiropractors and chiropractic students, welcome to the Family Practice Podcast. You know, the one you've been waiting way too long for, because this podcast will actually stay focused on chiropractic. Not only what it takes to get world-class clinical results for kids and families in your community, but also what it takes to build a legendary, incredible family practice that takes care of your family way beyond your dreams. I'm Dr. Tony Ebel, and I'll be joined by Dr. Matt Hill, Dr. Ellie Wright, Jackie Jacobowitz, and incredible guests, chiros, associates, CAs, all these folks making massive impact around the world. We're going to cover everything: pediatric, perinatal, family practice. This is the podcast you've been waiting for, because moms and dads and families have always needed us. Now they're finally ready for us. I hope you're ready for the Family Practice Podcast. Let's go.
Welcome back to the Family Practice Podcast. I'm your co-host, Dr. Ellie Wright, and oh my goodness, I am so excited for today's episode, where we are talking all things prenatal chiropractic and how we can ultimately get ahead of what we call the perfect storm. Now, obviously, we can't control everything in the perinatal phase of life, but how can we help our patients and their growing babies be the most resilient and adaptable so that we can hopefully prevent this perfect storm? Now, to start this podcast out, I think we should define a few words that I will be using. So number one is perinatal. What does perinatal mean? That is going to be the phase that surrounds all of preconception, your pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. So that's what I'm talking about when I say that perinatal phase. Also, we will be talking about preconception. What preconception means is that it is before a couple is trying to conceive. So what are they doing before they want to have a baby? So those are two words that we are going to be using that I just wanted to clear up and make sure that everyone knows about. So to dive into this episode today, let's start by talking about the prenatal care in America. Now, guys, as chiropractors, we absolutely love to just rage against the machine, right? We are conspiracy theorists. I'm being general here, but we are conspiracy theorists sometimes. We do not like the pharmaceutical companies. We, gift books about all of these different things for Christmas, but because we want to bring everyone in and we want them to know the truth. And that fires us up as chiropractors. So this is our one little moment where we can get a little bit, ragey right here, because I want us to use that feeling that we have, and I want us to switch that over into a solution. So let's talk about, that being said, let's talk about prenatal care in America. This stat, I am so embarrassed to say, because every single time that I bring up this stat, I always Google it to make sure that it is still right in hopes that it is completely wrong. But there are multiple sources that do say this, that America is number one in emergency care. We absolutely love that, right? Like if I am going to get in a car accident, need emergency surgery, all the things, I want to be in America. Praise God that we are number one in emergency care. That being said, this is the stat that I'm absolutely so entirely embarrassed about. And that is that we are dead last, number 55 in maternal and infant mortality rate. That cannot happen. That is so entirely sad. And when you really sit and think about that stat, and you think about those moms and those babies who have lost their lives or have a really messed up birth story, they are suffering from birth trauma. There's so many things that can happen that we're going to dive into today. America also spends close to $100 billion with a B, $100 billion on birth per year. The fertility market in 2022 was $7.9 billion, and it's estimated in 2028 to be $16.8 billion. An industry that should, for the most part, be happening naturally is now being over-controlled by America today, in the medical field today, and healthcare today. Now, women are struggling to have babies, which is why that fertility number is so high. And once they finally get pregnant and they're headed into their birth, 1 in 3 women are induced. And a lot of those stats are because maybe the OB is going on vacation, right? Maybe it's the 4th of July. I'll share a story with you in a little bit, but that OB did want to go on vacation for the 4th of July, which is why this mom was induced. So very sketchy reasons on induction. I know for a fact that some inductions need to happen, right? Some are medically necessary. That being said, it's not as high as 1 in 3. 75% of American women receive an epidural, which leads into 1 in 3 American women have a C-section. Now, the World Health Organization recommends that the emergency C-section rate, that it is a true medical emergency, is only 10 to 15% at most. And it's 1 in 3 women right now. Now, after birth, 1 out of 7 women, this is the documented one, so we are still missing so many women in this stat, but 1 out of 7 experience a postpartum mood and anxiety disorder. And then 65% of women are then put back on hormonal birth control within 6 weeks of having birth. Put right back on that hormonal birth control. And that is a perfect storm within itself. Now, I want to share a story about one of our patients, and this woman went through those exact stats that I just went to. She was a number in this healthcare industry. She was struggling, her and her husband were struggling to conceive for years. They finally had to go through IVF, a lot of failed IVFs. Then they finally got pregnant. But when you are pregnant with an IVF baby, you require a lot of ultrasounds, a lot of medical attention. She then was induced because it was around the 4th of July, but they said, you know, your baby's just measuring a little too big, so let's just take her out at 39 weeks. When you're induced, those Pitocin contractions, when you are induced, those Pitocin contractions are a lot stronger than naturally occurring contractions by oxytocin. So what happens is that you're in so much pain that you're going to get that epidural. And that's exactly what this mom did. She received the epidural. The epidural was not working correctly. It went up instead of down. So instead of not feeling anything below, she couldn't feel anything above. Baby gets stuck. Forceps are used. Vacuum is used. Baby's heart rate is now slowing down even more, not only due to those Pitocin contractions because they are so heavy on that baby, but now the baby is so in distress that they do need to perform an emergency C-section to save this mom and baby's life. All of the nurses are frantic. They're rushing her to the OR. The dad is scrubbing in. Mom goes into the surgical room. The curtain comes up. Mom is afraid. The nurse keeps telling her, everything will be okay. We're here. We're saving your baby. But the mom is thinking this entire time, you caused this. And now you have to save my baby. It's the story that we hear time and time again. Then baby comes out. They show her over the curtain. Congrats. All she gets is to feel the baby on her cheek. And then the baby is, rushed away. Loud noises are beeping. It's a story that we hear time and time again in our office. Mom and baby are now disconnected. Baby is over there getting rubbed down, getting her vitals checked. Mom is being closed up. They finally get to reunite. And that's where we see the latch is off. Breastfeeding is hard. The baby is now colicky. They're probably giving baby formula now because mom's milk isn't coming in. And this is the perfect storm that we see so many times over and over again. And it is so sad. Mom and baby finally get to go home. Baby is colicky, reflux, constipation. Mom is replaying this birth story over and over in her mind. Birth trauma. So where do we come in, docs? I'm sure if you are a neurologically focused perinatal and pediatric chiropractor, then you totally see this story over and over and over, time and time again. And unfortunately, this story is true for 40% of kids today. 40% of kids today have a chronic illness. So when are we going to step up? When are we as chiropractors going to start to see that this is our lane, right? We can get mad. We can rage against the machine like I talked about earlier. We can blame the medical field because, right, they were the ones who did not teach her how to have a natural pregnancy or did not, had to go straight to the IVF after only 6 months of trying to conceive, where maybe she didn't even know how to track her cycle and all of those things. We can blame them over and over. But I want us to take responsibility today. What is going to be our solution? How are we as perinatal chiropractors going to find this mama before she's even a mom? How are we going to see both the husband and the wife, both partners? How are we going to have them under neurologically focused chiropractic care so that they can ultimately prevent this perfect storm from occurring, so that they can have the dream birth that this mom has been searching for all along? What can we do to create the most adaptable nervous systems? And that's where I want to give you a few practical things that we can start to do in our offices as chiropractors so that we can change this story. Number one, stop making their care about ligaments. Stop making their care about muscles and back pain and sciatica. Obviously, those are so important. If you've been pregnant before, you are not comfortable when you have sciatica, right? And you want to go to the chiropractor and you want it to be immediately fixed. I totally get that. That was me too. But as chiropractors, we have to start tapping into the nervous system with these mamas. We are so neurologically focused when it comes to our patients that we see in the office of kids and moms and dads. But what about pregnancy? It's almost like, and I'm generalizing here, but it's almost like a lot of us chiropractors will just revert back to the 1900s where it was like, okay, we're only going to focus on pelvic alignment or spinal alignment. And that's what a lot of us are doing, or we're only checking the sacrum nonstop every single visit for these pregnant patients. If the sacrum is the only thing that you're checking and it is the only thing that is, I'm doing like air quotes here if you're not watching online, if it is the only thing that is out of alignment every single time, shouldn't there be something else? Isn't there a different primary that we can help this mom and how her body is adapting to this pregnancy? Yes, there is, and we'll go over that. But today, this podcast episode is just for a generalized view on how can we start to prevent this perfect storm? How can we start to get ahead of the storm before it starts? And so here are the things that I want to continue to give you. These are going to be generalized today. We are going to dive even deeper into these topics on more episodes that we have coming out in more detail. So I know the people who have a pen and paper right now, yes, write these down, but I know that you're going to be hungry for more details. And don't worry, I know that too. And I was that person as well. And so I want to give you an overview and then we'll dive deeper into details on more episodes coming out. So number one, again, stop making their care all about ligaments, muscles, back pain, and sciatica. Yes, we can help with all of those symptoms, and they are so important, like I mentioned before. But it's even cooler when we can impact mom's nervous system so that we can impact a growing baby's nervous system. If you are not taking heart rate variability on all of your preconception and pregnancy moms, that is where you can start. Start taking that every first, second, and third trimester, and also after every single 12 visits. So every 12 adjustments, start taking heart rate variability, guys. The mom's heart rate variability is directly correlated with the growing fetus. We have seen this in fetal development papers all over. With that growing baby, mom is impacting that. How is her nervous system? Because that's what baby is going to mirror. And not only in pregnancy, but after they're born too. How they're co-regulating. That mom and baby dyad is so, so important. And so we need to see that mom's nervous system is adaptable and resilient and healthy so that babies can be also. And that's your number one communication point when you talk to moms. It's not back pain, it's not sciatica, it's not round ligament pain anymore. Yes, those are entirely important and you do need to listen to the mom and care and address those, but stay stuck on the nervous system forever. I know that there are patients over at PWC where they ask, oh my goodness, I am 26 weeks today. What's happening with my baby's nervous system? And I get to look them in the eye and I get to say, oh my goodness, your baby's vagus nerve is myelinating this week. And we talk about that. And the moms are so incredibly astonished and amazed at what their body is doing to help create this baby. It is amazing when you focus on neurological care. So the nervous system has to be first and foremost in your care and communication. Do not be afraid to care plan like this too. You're not care planning for back pain. You're not care planning for sciatica. You are care planning for a baby who is going from 2 little tiny cells to an entire human being. That's how you have to adjust. Don't be afraid if you know that this mom's nervous system is completely dysregulated and she needs to come in daily for the first 2 weeks. Don't be afraid to adjust that many times. Of course, you're only doing 1 to 2 adjustments if you're adjusting that much because you don't want to confuse that already overwhelmed nervous system. But this is where it's at, guys. You have to talk nervous system and you have to care plan for not only her nervous system, but also for growing baby's nervous system. And if we're talking preconception care, get the mom and the dad under care right away. At our office, we love to see them for 6 months or even longer, depending on their story, before they even try to conceive, because we want their cells to be the best they can be before trying to create a baby. They need to be the healthiest human beings themselves before they put their cells together and create a baby. All right, another one for you guys is stop making hormones the star of the show. This isn't just to chiropractors as a whole, but more our entire healthcare society, even our holistic society, right? We work with a lot of people who work with fertility, and it's amazing, getting those hormonal panels and all the things. That is great, and that is what we need. That being said, we do not need it yet. What happens is if you draw or picture a triangle here, the base of the triangle, the base and the foundation has to be a regulated central nervous system. A regulated autonomic nervous system has to be first before hormones can do what they're supposed to do. I heard it said that, and it's a great way to put it, that the central nervous system is our biggest reproductive organ. And I was like, wait, but the brain and the nervous system aren't an organ, are they? Wait, are they? You just start to really ponder that. But the central nervous system is the biggest reproductive organ. And I want to walk you through this and show you how that is. So the brain is who tells the body to make hormones. So the central nervous system has to be our foundation. There are 2 sides to the nervous system, right? There's that gas pedal and there's that brake pedal. The parasympathetic nervous system side and the sympathetic nervous system. On the gas pedal side, there is something called the HPA axis or the pathway. You can picture it as a pathway. That's going to be your hypothalamus to your pituitary to your adrenal glands. That is our stress pathway. So if you are in fight, flight, freeze, all the other things that come with that, your gas pedal and your HPA axis are firing. So if I am running from a bear, I better hope to God that my HPA axis is going where my brain is telling my adrenal glands, okay, we got to kick out cortisol, we got to kick out adrenaline, and we got to get out of here. That is the stress side. The brake pedal side is going to be our HPG axis, hypothalamus to pituitary to gonads, or our reproductive organs. So that's the rest, digest, regulate, reproduce. If I'm just chilling on the couch, doing nothing, and I feel safe and I know that I'm safe, my reproductive organs are going to be able to kick out that progesterone and that estrogen, or if you are a male, that testosterone, spermatogenesis, all of those amazing things that you need to create a baby. The key here is that God intelligently designed our bodies so perfectly that you cannot be on the gas pedal and the brake pedal at the same time. So the HPA axis and the HPG axis will not fire at the same time. It is completely impossible by design. You do not want to be running from a bear and stop to create a baby. That makes no sense. So make sure that these two pathways are regulated and know exactly what they're doing at the exact time. All of our fertility cases that we have at PWC, the mom and or the dad, usually both of them, are stuck on the gas pedal. So they could be laying on the couch, completely safe, but their brain is perceiving it as there's a bear in this room and I need to get out. And that gas pedal has been stuck on for far too long, that now their adrenal glands have been kicking out cortisol and adrenaline for so long that now they're completely out of gas. And the body is so intelligently designed that if it's out of gas, why would it try to create and sustain life? It won't. And so that's the number one thing that is causing those fertility struggles, which is why you as a chiropractor should be owning this space. You should be the one who are seeing these patients preconception so that they can get their gas pedal and their brake pedal to be regulated, where their nervous systems are regulated, they're adaptable, right? We can't choose if a bear is in the room, right? We can't choose what stressors are going to be thrown at us in life, but we can choose how our nervous system is going to perceive everything, how it's going to take it in, and how it is ultimately going to adapt to that. The next one I want to give you guys is build your circle. So now that you have the foundation set in that triangle, you own the foundation of fertility, of pregnancy, of that entire perinatal space. That being said, you also have to be the chiropractor. Your job is to adjust. Nobody can be a chiropractor like you can. No other profession can adjust. No other profession owns the nervous system like you do. So build your circle and build your community connections so that you don't have to be the lactation consultant or the midwife or the doula or the pelvic floor PT, but you have those people who are also neurologically focused. They know what you do, they respect what you do, and they know that you are the foundation so that their therapies and everything that they have to offer will work 10 times better because their patient that you guys share is under neurologically focused chiropractic care. So you want to build that circle because those moms are going to need like-minded people and providers on their birth team. And you want that too, right? You don't want to just be a chiropractor who is so holistic and so nervous system focused and then doesn't have anyone to send their patients to. And that doesn't have anyone to send their patients to for co-care. You can't be everything. And that's what's so entirely special is that you be the chiropractor and then you refer out for the rest, for these birth providers to help you. That is what is so smart about collabing with community connections. So find those community connections. And if you feel like, man, Allie, I hear what you're saying, but I am in such a rural area or I am in a city that does not have any like-minded people like me. Create it. Do a workshop. Tell these providers and educate them on the nervous system. Tell them about the HPA and the HPG axis and that the central nervous system controls all of that. If they are good providers, they will totally understand this. They just need to be taught, right? No one was taught this in school. So we can't just be like, oh, they're horrible providers and, well, that's it. Now, none of my patients are going to get the care that they deserve. No, now we need to team up with them, help educate them so that they're able to help you with your patients as well. Now I want to talk to the chiropractor who wants this for their office, but maybe they're still stuck with the back pain Bobs and the neck pain Nancys, and they really do want to see more pregnant women, more preconception couples, and more kids. So how are you going to get your ideal patient in your office? It definitely starts with making community connections, right? Because all of those people also have patients who need you. They need the foundation first. So making those relationships, going out on coffee dates, doing all of those things, maybe doing a provider workshop. And then also, how's your social media, right? Moms or soon-to-be moms are searching your social media no matter what. And you can be like, no, it's all word of mouth, or it's all providers who are referring to me. Yeah, maybe. But the second step is that mom is immediately going to Instagram or Facebook. They're putting in your office and they're searching you. So if you do have a lot of back pain Bobs or neck pain Nancys, they're going to see that and they're going to be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Someone told me that they're maybe pregnancy focused or they're certified in all of these different things, but all they're showing on their website is decompression and x-ray and soft wave and all these things that may be great for that lane. But as a mom, I'm not going to bring my new baby here. I don't want to get adjusted here. Or how do they help with fertility and preconception and being their healthiest selves? Or they don't even say the nervous system. So make sure that your social media is up to par and that it is truly screaming, I see kids, I see pregnant patients, I listen to moms here. Your marketing has to be that way. And you have to get that ideal patient to come to your office first before you can even talk nervous system and care planning and adjusting and all the things. So to get your ideal patient in your office, your social media has to be up to par before you can communicate the nervous system and care plan and adjust. Which brings me to, how are you delighting in your patients? How are you making those pregnant mamas feel? Do you have resources for them? Do you know where to send them? Are you empowering them? Is your paperwork good enough so that they can write down everything they need to so that you know their exact birth story that they want, or you know exactly what they're looking for in their care? That's important, guys. And then ultimately, which I've hit on a lot, but I want to leave you with this, is update from the more traditional prenatal chiropractic care to nervous system focused. You may be calling yourself a nervous system focused prenatal chiropractor, but are you just focusing on this? You may be calling yourself a nervous system focused prenatal chiropractor, but are you just focusing on the symptoms? Or are you truly telling them how their nervous system can impact their growing baby's nervous system? I want to leave you with this story. We have a patient at PWC, and she started with us preconception. She then found out she was pregnant, completely natural. And she asked us, she said, I want a home birth. How do I do it? And we, of course, said the foundation is neurologically focused chiropractic care. We want to make sure that your nervous system is able to go from the gas pedal to the brake pedal, back to the gas pedal, and then to the brake pedal, right? Because that's the dance that we go through during a natural birth, is that you have to be in the parasympathetic nervous system, in brake pedal mode to initiate birth. So during her birth, the lights were dim. She got to choose her own playlist. She was eating a charcuterie board. She had some honey sticks. She had her water. She was surrounded by her husband and her other baby, who was a toddler now at the time. And the lights were dim, and it was quiet. They started to fill the tub with water. She could move freely. Her doula was there. She climbed into the tub. There were no beeping sensors. She wasn't hooked up to anything. And when it came time to push that baby out, her gas pedal turned on, and her body knew, I'm getting this baby out. The baby's gas pedal then turns on because the baby knows when to be born. And the baby says, it's time for me to enter Earthside. She pulls her beautiful baby up out of the water. And instead of loud crying, entering with bright lights all over, the baby coos. The baby is perfect. Nobody's rubbing down the baby. The baby is skin on skin with mom. The latch is beautiful. And this birth looks completely different than her first birth, which was the story I told you before. And that is the power of neurologically focused perinatal chiropractic care. You have a huge part in that mama's story because you got her when her son or daughter was that perfect storm baby and she had loads of birth trauma. And you were able to say, let's get you guys under care before conceiving for the next one, before trying for the next one. She had a beautiful pregnancy. She linked up to all of the amazing providers. She understands what the nervous system can do. And obviously we can't guarantee this, right? And she knew that too. She knew that nothing, literally nothing is in our control except for the fact that her nervous system and her baby's nervous system can be resilient and adaptable to all of life stressors that come her way. She then brings this beautiful baby in days after being born to get adjusted. And it's beautiful. And that should be your goal as perinatal and pediatric chiropractors, and as family-focused, and as a family-focused chiropractic office. So today we talked a little bit about how can you do that? How can you achieve that? But if you need more support in that, you can visit at the Pediatric Experience on socials. You can find me at Dr. Ali Wright, and we can help you find those details so that you can have the family practice of your dreams. I'm Dr. Ali Wright, and thank you for listening to the Family Practice Podcast. See y'all next time.
Hey, Dr. Tony here, and I wanted to say thank you for listening to the Family Practice Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, like and subscribe to the show so you don't miss a thing. Also, if you're looking for more content from us, you can absolutely subscribe to our newsletter, watch exclusive episodes on YouTube, and dive deep into the articles and blogs on our website. All of this is linked in today's show notes. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next episode.